Okay, let's be honest for a second. It happens every single year. You get to the end of January, maybe early February, and you just hit that wall. You know the one I'm talking about, the February slump.
The graveyard of New Year's resolutions.
Exactly. It's like clockwork. The gym is suddenly empty again, the journal is collecting dust, and we're, back to ordering takeout at 10 p.m.
And we always ask ourselves the same question.
Why? Why do I lack the discipline? Why can't I just stick to the plan this time?
And that question, why do I lack discipline? That is actually the wrong question. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of how human behavior works.
Okay.
We aren't failing because we're lazy. We aren't failing because we lack willpower. We are failing because we're trying to change our actions.
Without changing the operating system running them.
Exactly. The identity. Today's deep dive is all about rewriting that code. And I really love the stack of sources we have today because they really shouldn't work together, but they do.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd couple.
Completely. On one side, we have this philosophical, almost spiritual reflection translated from an Arabic text by Ahmed al-Sabuni. It treats change as a form of mourning. Or breaking an image. It's very poetic, very heavy.
And on the other side?
The other source is this super tactical, almost aggressive guide called How to Fix Your Entire Life in One Day.
Right.
It uses concepts from cybernetics, from system theory and psychology to basically gamify your existence.
So we've got ancient spiritual wisdom meets what Silicon Valley systems engineering.
Ideally, yes. One gives us the why and the spiritual depth. The other gives us the how, the actual protocol.
And the promise here is big. If you stick with us for this deep dive, you're not just going to hear about habits. You're going to walk away with a specific one-day protocol to reset your life.
But first, we have to understand why safety is actually our biggest enemy.
So where do we start?
We have to start with the core error. The mistake that basically everyone makes is focusing on the variables while ignoring the constant.
Okay, explain that.
Think about your resolutions. You try to change the diet, the schedule, the productivity apps. Those are all variables.
Yeah.
But the constant is you, the self.
Right. It's like trying to run a brand new high-performance video game, like Cyberpunk, on a computer from 1995. The software is great, but the hardware just rejects it.
Precisely. The hardware rejects it. The Arabic source puts this so beautifully. It says, you aren't in the place you want to be because you aren't ready for it yet.
Oof. That's a tough pill to swallow.
It is. It says you lack the internal version of yourself that belongs there. And the English source backs this up, saying you can't build a great life on a rotting foundation.
So if the foundation, the identity is, I am a procrastinator or I am a person who loves comfort, then no amount of apps is going to save you.
None.
But isn't action the way you change identity? I mean, don't you have to do the thing to become the person, or is that backwards?
It's a feedback loop for sure, but the identity has to permit the action first. There's a great example in sources that really clarifies this.
The bodybuilder and the CEO.
Yeah, the paradox of discipline. So we look at a bodybuilder or a CEO of a massive company, and we think, wow, look at their discipline. Look how much they suffer.
Well, how much they suffer to eat that broccoli or wake up at 4 a.m. We see it through our own lens, where that would be pure pain.
But the source argues they aren't suffering. In fact, they would suffer if they didn't do those things. And that is the key.
Okay, so a bodybuilder doesn't grind to eat healthy.
No, they would have to grind to force themselves to eat fast food every day. It would feel wrong. It would feel repulsive to their identity.
And the CEO doesn't struggle to lead. They would struggle to sleep in until noon and show up late. It would physically pain them.
Because it clashes with who they believe they are.
Exactly.
True change doesn't happen when you force yourself to do good habits through grit.
It happens when the old habits become disgusting.
Repulsive. It's a strong word, but it's the right one.
Usually we just think of bad habits as, tempting.
And that's the problem. As long as they are tempting, you are still the person who wants them. The source says you have to reach a point where you look at your old behaviors, the procrastination, the junk food, the doom scrolling, and you don't just think, I shouldn't do that. You think,
that is not me. That is gross.
That's the shift.
So if we're stuck in the February slump, it's because we still secretly identify with the old habits. We're still comfortable there.
We are protecting them. And this brings us to the psychology of being stuck. Why do we protect behaviors that make us miserable?
This is where Adlerian psychology comes in.
It is.
Okay, hold on. Break that down for us quickly.
Sure. So Alfred Adler was a contemporary of Freud, but he had a very different view. He believed in teleology, which is the idea that all behavior is goal-oriented. Every single thing you do has a purpose, even the things you think are mistakes or just laziness.
So if I'm sitting on the couch for 3 hours watching mindless videos instead of working on my business, that serves a goal. That's hard to believe.
It feels like a waste, but the goal is usually safety or protection from judgment. The English source argues that procrastination isn't a lack of discipline. It's a defense mechanism.
To protect your ego. How?
Well, if you never finish the project, you can never be judged for it.
Right.
If you don't try your hardest, you have a built-in excuse. Oh, I didn't fail, I just didn't have time.
I didn't fail, I just didn't really try. It's a safety net.
It is.
That hits home. It's better to be lazy with potential than hardworking and a failure.
Exactly. You keep your potential intact. And the Arabic source goes even deeper on this addiction to average. It suggests we unconsciously protect our current identity because it feels safe.
Even if who I am is miserable.
Especially then. At least it's predictable. The devil you know.
Right.
So any threat to who I am triggers this fight or flight response. The source talks about social validation, how we stay in dead-end jobs or bad relationships because they offer a justification to society.
Wow. It's safer to be miserable in a way that society understands than to be happy in a way that looks risky.
We are protecting the image. And to change, you have to be willing to break that image.
Okay, so we know why we're stuck. We're addicted to safety. We're protecting our ego from the risk of failure or judgment. How do we break it? Because if willpower isn't enough, what is?
You need leverage.
Yeah.
You have to create what the source calls dissonance.
You have to make the current situation unbearable.
You do. And the tool for this is the anti-vision.
I loved this part because usually everyone tells you to visualize success. You know, picture the Ferrari, picture the abs, picture the beach house.
But the source says,
yeah,
no. Visualizing success can actually be counterproductive. Your brain gets a little hit of dopamine just from the thought, and then you feel satisfied without doing any of the work.
Yeah.
The source says, visualize the nightmare.
Visualize the cost of staying the same.
Exactly. The English source asks some brutal questions to help you build this anti-vision. It asks, if nothing changes, describe an average Tuesday in 5 years.
That one hurt to read. Just an average gray Tuesday where you're still stuck in the same loop.
And it gets worse. Who gave up on you? What does your body feel like? What opportunities have closed forever?
Who gave up on you? That is chilling.
It's supposed to be. It has to be. It stops being about, oh, wouldn't it be nice to change? It becomes, I must change, because the alternative is a slow death. You have to scare yourself straight.
And this connects to the Arabic source, right? The concept of mourning.
Yes. This is where the spiritual side comes back in. The Arabic source frames this transition as a funeral. It says you must stop tolerating the life you hate. You actually have to mourn or kill the old version of yourself.
It's like you literally have to say goodbye to that person.
You do. You have to realize that your current comfort is actually killing you.
Right.
Remember, you aren't in the place you want to be because you aren't ready. Getting ready means saying goodbye to the person who wasn't ready.
You can't drag the old you into the new life. They don't fit.
They don't fit.
Okay, so we've created this dissonance. We're sufficiently freaked out by your anti-vision. We're ready to mourn the old self. Now what? What do we actually do? You promised a protocol.
This is the tactical reset. The English source outlines a one-day protocol to fix your life. And to be clear, this isn't about cleaning your room or doing laundry.
This is psychological surgery.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it starts in the morning.
Walk us through it.
Morning is for psychological excavation. You sit down for 30 minutes, no phone, no music, no distractions, just paper and a pen, and you answer some hard questions.
What kind of questions?
The most important one is this. What is the dull, persistent dissatisfaction I've learned to tolerate?
That phrase, learn to tolerate, that's the key. Because we just get used to that low-level hum of unhappiness, don't we?
It's just background noise.
Exactly.
We normalize it. So you have to identify what that noise is. Then you define your vision MVP, minimum viable vision.
Not a 10-year plan, just a clear direction.
Right. And you write a specific identity statement. I am the type of person who...
Give me an example of a good one versus a bad one.
A bad one is, I want to lose weight. A good one is, I am the type of person who eats for fuel and respects my body.
So not, I will try to, but I am.
I am. You are staking a claim on reality.
Okay, so we set the coordinates. Then comes the midday phase, which I thought was really clever, interrupting autopilot.
The idea is that we live, 90% of our day on autopilot? We are just sleepwalking.
So you have to violently interrupt it.
Yes. The protocol says to set alarms on your phone throughout the day at weird times, like 11:000 a.m., 1:38 p.m., 3:15 p.m.
And when the alarm goes off, you don't just swipe it away.
No, you have to stop.
Yeah.
And you answer a question immediately. Questions like, what am I avoiding right now?
Or am I acting out of identity protection or genuine desire?
Exactly. Imagine that alarm going off while you're mid-scroll on social media. Beep, beep, beep. What are you avoiding? It just snaps you right out of the trance.
It forces awareness. It forces you to look at the gap between your actions and that identity statement you wrote in the morning.
You can't hide from yourself.
Okay, so we've excavated in the morning. We've interrupted the patterns all day. What happens in the evening?
Evening is for synthesis and gamification. This is where we turn life into a video game to induce those flow states we love in games.
I love how they map this out. It makes the abstract feel really concrete.
They use explicit gaming terminology. Your vision is how you win the game. Your anti-vision is what's at stake. That's your game over.
And the boss fight? What's that?
That's your 1-month project.
Yeah.
What is the one big thing you need to conquer right now? Maybe it's launching the website. Maybe it's losing the first 5 pounds.
And your daily levers, the small habits, those are your quest to gain XP, experience points.
Exactly.
It sounds fun, but it's actually really smart psychology. Games are addictive because the feedback loops are so clear, right?
Incredibly clear. You kill the monster, you get the gold. You know exactly what you need to do to level up.
And real life is messy.
Real life is full of ambiguity. You work hard, and maybe nothing happens for 6 months. That's why we quit. This protocol forces life to have clear rules. It creates a force field around your attention.
So distractions stop being tempting.
And they start being obstacles to your high score.
Yeah.
It completely reframes the struggle.
And this all ties back to the underlying theory, which the source calls cybernetics.
Right.
Now, cybernetics sounds like robots or sci-fi, but what does it actually mean in this context?
Cybernetics comes from the Greek word for steering, like steering a ship. And the source redefines intelligence in a really interesting way based on this.
Okay.
It says intelligence is simply the ability to get what you want out of life.
Not your IQ score, not how many books you've read, just can you steer the ship to the destination?
That's it. And to do that, you need the cybernetic loop: act, sense, compare, act.
Okay, break that down.
You take an action, you sense the result, did it work?
Yeah.
You compare it to your goal, and then you act again to adjust course. It's like how a thermostat works.
It senses the room is cold, so it turns on the heat.
Right.
It sounds so simple, but most people, myself included, get stuck on the sense part. We fail, we sense pain, and we just stop.
And that is the critical difference between high and low intelligence in this system. Low intelligence gets stuck on the obstacle. Oh no, I failed, I'm a failure, this hurts. They emotionalize the feedback.
They take it personally.
They do. High intelligence treats problems purely as feedback. I failed. Okay, that means the angle of approach was wrong. Let me steer the ship 5 degrees to the left.
It removes the emotion from failure. It's just data.
It's just data. And this connects so beautifully back to the Arabic source's concept of awareness, or way.
Oh.
The source argues that as your awareness grows, you stop blaming the world. You stop blaming luck or geography or other people.
Because you realize you are the one steering the ship.
You realize the problem isn't external. It's internal. The source says you are the one choosing to stand still.
So when you combine that spiritual responsibility with the cybernetic feedback loop,
you become unstoppable. You stop waiting for the world to change and you start changing your inputs to get different outputs.
It's empowering, but it's also terrifying because it means we have no excuses left.
That's the price of freedom. No excuses. If the ship is going in circles, it's because you are steering it in circles.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. We started with the February slump. The realization that willpower isn't enough. We need an identity shift.
Then we learned that we're stuck because we are addicted to safety and social validation. We protect our average existence because it's known.
And to break that, we use the anti-vision. We look at the nightmare of staying the same until it becomes repulsive. We mourn the old self.
And then we execute the one-day protocol. Excavate in the morning, interrupt autopilot during the day, and gamify life in the evening.
And finally, we steer the ship using cybernetics, treating every failure as just data to help us adjust course.
That is the roadmap.
It really changes how you look at a bad day. A bad day isn't a reflection of your worth.
It's just a lagging indicator of an old identity. And if I could leave you with one final thought, something to really chew on from these texts.
Please.
The sources hint at this idea that the life you dream of, that version of you who is fit and successful and calm, it isn't some distant future reality. It exists right now.
Okay.
But it exists on a different frequency of consciousness.
That sounds a little bit esoteric. Can you explain that in practical terms?
Think of it like a radio. The Arabic source mentions that the life you want is available, but it requires a specific level of awareness to inhabit it. The music your ideal life is playing right now in this room.
But if you're tuned to 98.5...
which is your old fears, your old habits, you can't hear what's playing on 101.3.
You are tuning yourself out of your own potential.
Exactly. You're blocking the signal with your own static, your need for safety, your fear of judgment, your attachment to being a victim.
So the question isn't, how do I get there?
No, the question is, which part of my current identity, which fear, which safety mechanism, which piece of static am I finally willing to sacrifice to let that signal come through?
So you don't need to add anything.
You need to remove the interference.
Wow. Which part of you are you willing to sacrifice? That is the question to carry into the rest of the week.
It's the only question that matters.
Listen, don't just let this be another audio file you consumed. Take the one day, do the protocol, reset the code. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you on the other side.